Welcome back to Bay Sunday. The San Francisco International Arts Festival is getting underway, and here to highlight some of the events and artists this year, we have Mr. Andrew Wood. Welcome back to Bay Sunday. Good to see you again.
Nice to see you too.
So this year, it's quite different from last year.
It's quite different from last year. We were going in a certain direction. What we thought was basically, it was with our partners, the Fort Mason Center for Arts and Culture, we'd achieved a sort of critical mass of programming that we were moving in a direction, which we still are, of creating a marketplace dimension to the festival, where we were inviting presenters from other parts of the country to come and see work, because there was so much going on that they could see 6 to 8 shows in the course of a day. Right. So we thought, okay, that's enough for them to come and shop. Then the election happened, and as I think with California, with San Francisco, we decided we have to be opposed to this presidency. Sure. So we changed the theme. And the theme now is, in the dark times, will there also be singing, which was a quote from Bertolt Brecht. And the second half of that quote is, yes, there will be singing about the dark times. So we wanted to do a festival that was, as much as we could make it, be about political activism and community activism and being activist. So some of the artists in the festival, some of the local artists, changed the work that they were doing so that it became more overtly political, or had a socio-political dimension to it. And we are also doing a workshop and a forum titled "In the Dark Times, Will There Also Be Singing?" It's being organized by the Center for Political Education on Saturday, June the 3rd at 11 o'clock. It's free to the public. And what we're trying to do is invite our audience in to work with political activists or community activists and think about how to become more engaged in what is a struggle against the Trump administration.
So this is really where politics and the arts converge, but it's not all dark.
It's not all dark. No, we have a family program. There's lots of great work that isn't political, but the overarching theme is that, and even of the non-political work, some of it takes a lead from politics. We have a dance series called A Pirouette with Asia. And that came from when President Obama said we was going to pivot to Asia, and offended quite a few people out there. So we thought we'd do something that was more cooperative and friendly in spirit. So that we have a dance series from Asia called A Pirouette with Asia. There's a company coming from China called Gu Jianyi. It'll be her second time in the country. And then there's also a company coming from Japan called Skarabe, and they've never been to the country before. And a company coming from Hong Kong called Victor Fong Dance, and he's never been to the country before. So it's bringing in work that hasn't been seen in the United States. That's a lot of what we do, is bring artists who don't have US representation and who have never been to the United States. And we've been doing this since 2003, and over the course of the years, we've built up a body of work that would never have been seen in this country otherwise.
It must have been a whirlwind time for you, because I know as a director of an arts festival, you kind of have your set plan, and then all of a sudden the election happens and you have to completely change it. That must have been a pretty tough time for you guys to kind of change the whole thing.
It was just imperative. You know, it wasn't that, oh, we have a choice to make here. It was just, no, we just have to do this. It's about the city we are. It's about the part of the country we live in. We are the opposition to the Trump administration. And I think in some ways it's easy for us to be that, because we all believe that. But there are people across this country who are fearful and scared of what's going to happen with this man in charge, or not in charge, unfortunately. But and so I think people look to the Bay Area for leadership during these times, and we can provide that leadership and we can provide that message.
What about your audience? Do you want pro-Trump supporters to come out?
I don't think there are that many in this part of the world, but. I think they would. I think the important thing about art is that in this post-fact era, where people have their own set of facts and they don't really believe anybody else's, even when they're non-facts, even when they're lies. I think what art can do is it can reach people in different ways. It reaches your emotions as well as the intellect. It's not just about asking a factual question, but what you see on stage and the way artists work it's intellectual, but it's also very emotive. Sure. And you can find a way into a person's heart through art, through what you see on a stage, through what choreographers, what directors, and what musicians can do. You know, they can reach a human being in a way that just by us having a conversation, if we're diametrically opposed, we'll never agree. Right. But the arts have a way of doing that. And I think when it hooks back into the marketplace dimension, it's if we're bringing presenters from other parts of the United States and they're seeing work, and the message that our artists have, if they go on tour to those parts of the country, then that's us taking our message out there, and that's part of what we're doing as well.
It's about starting the conversation.
About starting the
Andrew
conversation.
Wood, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you very much.
San Francisco International Arts Festival, May 25th through June 4th at Fort Mason Center in San Francisco. And for more information, you could go to sfiaf.org. When Bay Sunday comes back, America's favorite veterinarian brings us tips on alternative pet care after this quick break.